Well, good Thursday morning, everybody. The week is flying by, and I'm going to try to fly by this show for you as well, too, because it's pretty much hot, is what we feel this time of year. But we do have some changes, starting to see some rain coverage kind of moving in the next couple of days. It is limited, but we do have that weak front to talk about that will be moving in this weekend. We take a look at the Tamco Live Doppler radar this morning. It is awfully quiet, not much going on this Thursday morning. I mean, we don't even have the bugs and the birds moving around, just a little bit over there towards the Cameron Parish area. We can see that on the Doppler radar, but other than that, it is awfully quiet. Still have this weak frontal boundary that has been giving rounds of showers and thunderstorms to portions of Florida, and then you have another frontal boundary that's given some rounds of showers and thunderstorms in portions of the central to northern plains region, but pretty much the Lone Star State and Louisiana. We're pretty quiet this morning, but we are expecting some changes a little bit this weekend. I'm not expecting we get very active, but we are pretty quiet as of right now this Thursday morning. You can see we do have a little bit of moisture kind of coming in. This is one of the main reasons we already have that heat advisory. We're very hot this time of year. You add in that humidity that's now in here, so the heat advisory is already on. The heat is definitely on, like Glenn Fry would say. A lot of us going to get into the middle to several into the upper 90s, near 100 degrees. You add in the humidity, heat index is going to be near 108 to some areas 111. So thanks to Tamco showing us what's going on the satellite. Nothing really impressive, but we can see that moisture and some clouds is kind of moving in. And we can still see that high-pressure ridge is still kind of in control of our weather. You can see really a lot of areas this time is typically into the lower to mid-70s, but a lot of us are now into the upper 70s. So you can see that warm, moist air off the Gulf is here. A lot of us pretty much into the upper 70s to low 80s, already approaching like Holly Beach at the mid-80 mark. So we're warm, we're humid, we are gearing up for a hot day today. Thanks to our sponsor of Silsby Ford, letting us know what's going on the current temperatures. And we're going to continue warming up. Thanks to Modern Concrete Material, we can see what the outlook is for today. We know it's going to get hot by the lunchtime hours, especially this afternoon, but we do have a chance of rain, at least 10% coverage. Yesterday, we got up to around 5% coverage. Today, we should get up to 10% coverage today, again tomorrow on Friday. In fact, the next 5 to 7 days, we're getting back to that summer pattern where you can find the heat of the day and the moisture where we can at least get to 10% coverage. But we do see that coverage jump up a little bit this Saturday, and we'll talk about that in a second. But here's our Thursday update for today. Hot day, mostly dry, but we do expect a window of opportunity for some showers, possibly a very lonely storm later on this afternoon. The heat of the day and the moisture. No tropical development the next 5 to 7 days. In fact, you could probably say the next 10 days, but we will monitor this weak frontal boundary, and we got another one that's coming in on Saturday and Sunday when these weak fronts get down into the Gulf or over here into the eastern coast. We do always watch them and monitor them, but dry air and wind shear is really kind of kicking tropics butts the next 5 to 7 days, if not the next 10 days. Things are very quiet in the tropics. That is wonderful news. You can see this deep tropical moisture that's really kind of surging in from the plains down in the deep south all the way into Florida, so that's where you can find some of those showers and some thunderstorms. This is the reason Florida continues to get rain, and they're going to continue doing this very kind of rinse and repeat pattern for Florida the next several days, at least the next 3 to 4 days. But you can see that we've got a little bit of moisture kind of working into the region. Again, that's the reason we have that heat index. But because of that heat of the day and the moisture, we can get at least 10% coverage today, this Thursday, again on Friday. But there's that weak frontal boundary moving in. Saturday evening, that gives us at least 30 to 40% coverage. And one thing that's interesting is a lot of our environment could be capped during the afternoon and evening time hours. So we would actually have widespread showers and storms, but since we're capped, it's keeping it somewhat isolated to scattered. And then once it gets to the coast and then offshore, this thing really does develop, if not get a lot more better coverage. So we'll kind of keep an eye on this, see if coverage does pick up a little bit more for areas like Beaumont, Galveston, and Port Arthur Saturday evening into Sunday morning. But that's just kind of a rough ETA of what we're seeing. We've got these isolated rain chances today and tomorrow, and then the coverage picks up Saturday afternoon, mainly Sunday evening through Sunday morning, Saturday evening through Sunday morning. That cold front will be approaching our region, so that's our best bet that we're going to see some isolated to getting scattered. Again, nothing too heavy. I mean, if you find an isolated area that gets an inch of rain, that's possible, but widespread, we're not seeing any heavy totals. This is very limited. Just showing this weekend, we've got this weak frontal boundary that's moving in, kind of kicking out some dew points, humidity for a window of opportunity, maybe Sunday into early Monday, but Degrees aren't going to change too much. It's going to introduce a chance for some isolated to scattered showers. That's about it. And then once we get into early to middle of next week, we still have that 10 to 20% coverage for some isolated showers. Thanks for a sponsor of Switch Electric. This afternoon, going to be hot, hot, hot. You got that heat of the day plus the moisture. We can at least get 10% coverage for a passing shower, maybe an isolated storm. But really kind of the biggest thing today is the heat. It's definitely going to be hot. But let's fast forward for a rough ETA again, because Friday, kind of the same thing, 10% coverage, possibly up to 20%, but the big story is Saturday. It's not a big story, but we've got this weak frontal boundary that's moving in. We'll take what we can get, right? Anytime you take off a degree or two, we're definitely happy in late July and August. But this week, frontal boundary will at least give us possibly 30 to 40% coverage. There's that coverage Saturday evening, getting into early Sunday morning as that front continues to move in. And then watch as it gets right along the coast. We'll definitely watch this because, again, a lot of our area could be capped. A little warm layer right here on the surface doesn't let our, showers and thunderstorms get too exciting. But as it gets closer to the coast and offshore, that caps less of an issue. And so we see these storms really get a lot more active closer to the coast. So Lake Jackson, Galveston, League City, Houston, Beaumont, Port Arthur, Lake Charles, we're going to continue to watch this, but we're just showing you we got a chance for some showers and thunderstorms Saturday evening into early Sunday morning. That front finally passes through, and then it kind of just keeps us on the 10 to 20% coverage Monday, Tuesday, and getting into Wednesday. Again, keep kind of talking about it. It's kind of like a broken record. The heaviest rain the next several days for that weak front that continues to kind of just rinse and repeat. The heaviest rain is going to be from Mobile, Pensacola, Panama, all the way over here to Gainesville. You can see some areas 1 to 3 inches with isolated pockets 4, 5, 6 inches of rain. And then here's our cold front that moves in. It's a weak one. You can find some pockets of maybe a 1/4 of an inch up to a 1/2 an inch. I don't think anybody gets an inch of rain, but hey, maybe it's on the table. But majority of us, nothing too heavy. This is just some isolated showers moving in, maybe a couple isolated storms. That's about all we're seeing. It's going to be a hot day today. Let me move out of the way. We do have some passing showers, maybe an isolated storm, but the main headline is going to be the heat index and how hot down towards the coast, upper 80s to near 90, and then the rest of us pretty much the middle 90s to a lot of us getting close to the 100-degree mark. Thanks for sponsor of Silsbee Ford. It's going to be a hot Thursday, everybody, but that's what we feel this time of year. Then overnight tonight, warm, muggy, and sticky, and the air conditioners definitely continue to work as we're going to be into the pretty much middle 70s to upper 70s. A lot of us near the 80-degree mark to almost down towards the coast near the mid-80s. Thanks again, Silsbee Ford, for what to expect. And then here's our 7-day forecast. We're going to be hot the next 5 to 7 days. That's what we do, but we've got some daily rain chances that are there. Nothing heavy. But as this weekend, we've got that weak frontal boundary that moves in, giving us 30 to 40% coverage. Sunday's a big question mark during the day. I think the rain is really Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon we should kind of clear out. And then we just kind of keep that 10 to 20% coverage as we get into Monday and Tuesday and even Wednesday of next week. But again, notice the temperatures don't drop off too much, maybe a degree or two. Might kick out the humidity for Sunday and Monday. Hey, we'll take what we can get. Just showing we do have a chance of rain thanks to this front moving in. And then we kind of keep those isolated rain chances around. Same thing for Southwest Louisiana. We are mostly hot and somewhat kind of on the drier side today and tomorrow. We do have a chance for some passing showers. A little bit better coverage this weekend. And even though we get up to 40%, I don't think it's enough to disrupt anything outdoors. We just kind of got to get out the handy-dandy Gulf Coast radar and track some showers and possibly some storms. And then after that, degrees might go down maybe 1 or 2 degrees Sunday getting into Monday, but we still have the chance for some isolated showers with the heat of the day and the moisture. So not much going on in our next 5 to 7 days. We're just kind of getting excited for this little weak front. But today, definitely want to kind of stay cool. It is going to be a hot one. Not much relief from the heat. You do have this chance for a passing shower, maybe a lonely storm. But a lot of us, the heat index, 105 up to 111 degrees. Y'all have a wonderful Thursday. Thanks for tuning in to Gulf Coast Weather Solutions, especially the ones that join us every single morning. Thank y'all for grabbing the coffee, tuning in with us, giving us some funny comments to read every morning. We definitely, certainly enjoy y'all every single morning tuning in, checking in what's going on. And also thanks to all of our wonderful sponsors. If it wasn't for y'all, we definitely could not have Gulf Coast Weather Solutions. Have a wonderful Thursday. Stay cool. See y'all tomorrow morning on the Friday morning show.
Gulf Coast Weather Solutions is sponsored by. Thank you for making Gulf Coast Weather Solutions one of your go-to sources for weather around the clock. From heavy downpours and severe storms to winter weather and the tropics, we've got you covered with accurate, reliable forecasts you can trust.
Next week is starting to look a little bit more stormy.
But look what's moving into the state of Texas.
Gulf Coast Weather Solutions.